High Counselor Sun Mai walked through the busy halls of Stellar Station Alpha. Her long blue robe swept the floor as she moved. People stepped aside when they saw her. As the third highest leader in the Galactic Confederation, most people feared her. But today, fear filled her own heart. "Any news?" she asked her assistant, Daho, who rushed to keep up with her. "No, High Counselor. We have checked all security cameras. We have sent messages to all ships that left the station in the last 12 hours. Nothing." Sun Mi stopped walking. Her face showed no emotion, but her 6 fingers gripped her silver staffs so tight that her knuckles turned white. 12 hours. My daughter has been missing for 12 hours, and you have nothing. Daho bowed low. His green skin wrinkled at his neck. "We are doing everything we can." Sun Mi turned away and entered the security room. 6 officers from different planets sat at screens. They jumped to their feet when she entered. "Show me the last images of my daughter," she ordered. The head of security, a 4-armed alien named Tam, tapped on his screen. "Here, High Counselor. This is from outside the Earth Foods shop on level 12. Your daughter was there at 8:42 station time." The screen showed Jia, a young woman with black hair cut short. She wore simple clothes, not the fancy ones that showed her high rank. Sun Mi had often told her daughter not to hide who she was. Jia never listened. In the video, Jia was talking to someone off-screen. She nodded, then looked around before walking away with the unknown person. "Who is she talking to?" "Show me," Sun Mi demanded. "We cannot see from this angle," Tam said, "but we have another camera view." The screen changed. Now they could see Jia talking to a tall, thin alien with pale skin. "A Moran," Sun Mi said. "Zoom in." The image got bigger. The Moran wore a simple worker's uniform with no name tag. "I don't know him," Sun Mi said. "Find out who he is." "We tried," Tam said. "The uniform is real, but he is not in any worker records. We think it was a fake." Sun Mi watched as her daughter walked away with the stranger. They entered a lift, and then the video ended. "Where did they go?" she asked. "The lift went down to level 20, but we have no cameras there that saw them exit." Level 20, the bottom levels of the station. The dark, dirty place where people went to hide or do bad things. Sun Mi's stomach turned cold. "Did she leave any message for me?" she asked. Daho shook his head. "Nothing, High Counselor." Sun Mi closed her eyes. This was bad. Very bad. Jia would not just go with a stranger unless she was tricked or forced. And she would not leave without telling her mother, unless... "Has anyone made any demands?" she asked. "Any message asking for money or favors?" "No, High Counselor. If this wasn't about money, then it was about something worse. It was about who Jia was, what she was. Send out special agents. Check all ships that left the station. I want to know where my daughter is." Sun Mi's voice rose, and the officers looked at each other nervously. "High Counselor," Tam said carefully, "we have rules about searching private ships. The other counselors must agree." "My daughter carries the ancestral memory." Sun Mi cut him off. "If someone takes her genes, they could learn secrets that would put the whole Confederation at risk. This is not just about my child." The room went quiet. Everyone knew about the ancestral memory, the special DNA that held the memories of Sun Mi's people going back thousands of years. Only a few families had it, and the knowledge it contained was both powerful and dangerous. Sun Mi turned to leave. "You have 2 more hours. Then I will take matters into my own hands." As she walked out, Sun Mi knew that official help would be too slow. Rules and permissions would waste time. Jia could be halfway across the galaxy by now. She needed someone who didn't care about rules, someone who could move fast and go places official agents couldn't. She needed someone desperate enough to take risks. She needed a human. The lower levels of Stellar Station Alpha smelled bad. The air was heavy with cooking oil, waste, and too many bodies in too small a space. Sun Mi pulled her hood lower over her face. Down here, being a high counselor could get her killed, or worse, slow her down. Are you sure about this? Daho whispered beside her. He had changed his fancy clothes for simple ones, but his perfect posture still gave him away. Stand up less straight, Sun Mi ordered. You look like government. Daho tried to slouch. It looked unnatural. They walked past food stands where strange meats sizzled on hot plates. Aliens of all kinds sat at small tables, eating, drinking, and making deals they didn't want others to know about. Sun Mi stopped at a bar called The Last Stop. The sign was written in 7 languages. Human letters were at the top. Wait outside, she told Daho. But High Counselor, that's an order. Inside, the bar was dark and loud. A band of 4 armed musicians played in the corner. The music hurt Sun Mi's ears. She looked around until she saw what she needed, a human woman standing behind the bar. Sun Mi walked up to the bar. I'm looking for Hansu. The woman didn't look up from the drinks she was making. Lots of people are. He doesn't want to be found. Sun Mi placed a small gold cube on the bar. It was worth more than most people made in a month. The woman glanced at it, then finally looked up at Sun Mi. She had dark skin and hair cut very short. You're a long way from the upper levels. I need to find Hansu. It's important. The woman pocketed the gold cube. Back room. But he won't help you. Sun Mi pushed through the crowd to a door at the back. She knocked once, then entered. The room was small. A man sat at a table, cleaning a strange metal object. He looked up when she entered. He had the tan skin and dark hair all humans had, but his eyes were sharp and cold. You're in the wrong place, counselor, he said in a flat voice. Sun Mi pulled back her hood. You know who I am. Everyone knows the famous Sun Mi. Hansu put down the metal object. It was an old-style human weapon, what they called a gun. Most places banned them because they were too simple to detect. The question is, why would a high counselor come to see a human nobody? You're not a nobody. They call you the Finder. Hansu's mouth turned up slightly. That's just a story. They say you found the lost jewels of Terra 6 and the missing data core from the Battle of New Mars. They say if something is lost, you can find it. They say a lot of things. Hansu leaned back in his chair. What did you lose, counselor? My daughter. Hansu's face changed for just a moment. Something like real feeling crossed it, then disappeared. Jaya has been missing for 14 hours now. Sun Mi continued. She was last seen with a Moran in fake worker clothes. They went to level 20, then disappeared. Why come to me? You have the entire Confederation security force. They move too slow, follow too many rules. Hansu laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. And now you want someone who breaks rules. Funny how that works. Will you help me? Hansu looked at her for a long time. No. Sun Mi hadn't expected that. I can pay. I don't care about your money. Hansu picked up his weapon again. Do you know what happens to humans who get mixed up in high-level Confederation business? Nothing good. My daughter is in danger. Not my problem. Sun Mi felt anger rise in her chest. You found things for others. Small things. Lost items. Information. Not missing high-level officials' kids. Hansu shook his head. This is big politics. Someone took your daughter for a reason. Getting in the middle of that is suicide. So you're afraid. Hansu didn't take the bait. Smart. The word is smart. Sun Mi tried a new approach. They took her because of what she is. She carries the ancestral memory. That got his attention. The genetic memory bank. I thought that was just a story. It's real. And dangerous in the wrong hands. Hansu stood up. He was tall for a human. Then you have bigger problems than you know. Go back to your fancy office, counselor. Use your power. Make some calls. Leave me out of it. He walked past her to the door. His message was clear. The meeting was over. Sun Mi closed her eyes. She had one last card to play. What if I offered you something no human has ever had before? Han Su stopped with his hand on the door. He didn't turn around. I'm not interested in money, he said. I'm not offering money. Sun Mi took a deep breath. What she was about to say could change everything. I'm offering citizenship. Han Su turned slowly. His face was hard to read. What? Full citizenship in the Galactic Confederation. For you. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. One human with papers doesn't change anything. I'm not offering it just to you. Sun Mi met his eyes. I'm offering it to all humans. The room went very quiet. Han Su stared at her. For the first time, he looked truly surprised. You can't do that, he said finally. I can. I'm one of 3 high counselors. Each of us has the right to bring one new species into the Confederation each cycle. It hasn't been done in 50 years because there are so few new species worth adding. And suddenly humans are worth adding. Han Su's voice was bitter. After 100 years of being called primitive, Sun Mi stepped closer to him. Find my daughter, and humans will have the same rights as any Confederation species. The right to travel freely. The right to own property. The right to hold office. Han Su's hands were shaking slightly. He shoved them into his pockets. Why would you do this? He asked. You've never cared about humans before. I care about my daughter. So we're just tools to you, useful now that you need us. Sun Mi didn't deny it. Does it matter why, if your people benefit? Han Su walked back to the table and sat down heavily. The offer was bigger than anything he had expected. Humans had been living on the edges of Confederation space for 3 generations. They could work the jobs no one else wanted. They could live in the worst parts of stations and planets. But they couldn't vote, couldn't own businesses, couldn't travel without special papers that cost more than most humans would ever have. How do I know you'll keep your word? He asked. I'll sign a contract. Official Confederation law. If you find Jia, humans get citizenship. Dead or alive. Sun Mi flinched. What? If I find your daughter dead, do humans still get citizenship? Sun Mi hadn't thought of that. The idea of Jia being dead made her feel sick. But Han Su was right to ask. Yes, dead or alive. If you find her, the deal stands. Han Su nodded slowly. Write it up. Sign it. Then I'll help you. Sun Mi took out a small device and pressed her thumb to it. Words appeared in the air between them. The contract. Han Su read it carefully. Add the part about dead or alive, he said. Sun Mi spoke to the device, and the words changed. She pressed her thumb to it again. The contract glowed blue, then faded. It's filed, she said. Official and binding. Han Su stood up. Tell me everything you know about your daughter. Her habits, her friends, places she goes. And I need something she touched recently. I brought this. Sun Mi held out a small silver bracelet. She wore it yesterday. Han Su took the bracelet. He turned it over in his hands, studying it. You haven't told me everything. Why would someone take your daughter? What's so special about this ancestral memory? Sun Mi hesitated. It's not just memories. It's knowledge. Secrets. The location of weapons that could destroy whole planets. Passwords to systems that control key parts of the Confederation. My family has guarded these secrets for 10 generations, and your daughter has all that in her head. In her DNA. It can be read with the right equipment. Most people don't know it exists. Those who do would kill to get it. Han Su put the bracelet in his pocket. You've just made enemies of some very powerful people by offering humans citizenship. You know that, right? Sun Mi nodded. I know. Then let's find your daughter before they find out what you've done. Han Su moved through the crowded market on level 18 like a shadow. People stepped aside without even noticing him. It was a skill he had learned long ago. To be there, but not be seen. He held Jaya's bracelet in his pocket, rubbing the smooth metal between his fingers. Sun Mai had been surprised when he didn't use a tracker device on it. The Confederation had fancy machines that could pick up tiny bits of DNA, but those machines were easy to fool with the right chemicals. Hansu trusted older ways. He had spent an hour just holding the bracelet, letting his mind build a picture of the girl who wore it. The bracelet was well worn on one side. She played with it when she was nervous. There was a small dent where it had been banged against something hard. The clasp had been fixed by hand, not by a machine. These small details told him more than any scanner could. He stopped at a food stand run by a short, round alien with orange skin. "Pak," Hansu said quietly. "I need information." The alien looked up from the pots of bubbling food. "Hansu, my friend. Try new soup, very good. Not hungry. I need to know about a missing person." Pak's smile dropped. He lowered his voice. "Missing person is bad business, especially if important person. How did you know they were important? Why else would Hansu look?" Pak moved to the end of his stand, away from other customers. "What do you need?" "A young woman disappeared yesterday, taken by a Moran in worker clothes. They came through here, maybe." Pak stirred his pots, thinking. Moran are not common down here. Too fancy. He looked around, then leaned closer. "But yesterday, I see one. Not eating. Just walking fast. With girl. She looked sleepy. Drugged? Maybe. Or mind control. She walk, but not normal." Hansu felt a cold knot in his stomach. Which way did they go? Toward shipping docks. The small ones, for private ships. "Thanks, Pak." Hansu put some coins on the counter. Pak pushed the money back. No charge for friends. But Hansu, he lowered his voice even more. "People ask about you today. Official people. Asking many questions." Hansu nodded. News traveled fast. Someone had already figured out that Sun Mai was working with him. "Be careful, Pak." He turned away and moved toward the small shipping docks. These were used by rich people who didn't want their comings and goings recorded. You could pay extra to keep your ship off the official logs. At the dock entrance, a bored guard sat behind a desk. "Shipping ID," the guard asked without looking up. Hansu placed a credit stick on the desk. "I need to know about a ship that left yesterday. Had a Moran and a young woman on board." The guard looked at the stick, then at Hansu. "Records are private." Hansu added another credit stick. "I'm sure they are." With a quick look around, the guard took the money and pulled up a screen. Lots of ships yesterday. This would be midday. The woman might have seemed sleepy or confused. The guard scrolled through the records. "Here, small ship, paid extra for no questions. Left at 13:20. 2 passengers match your description. Where were they going?" Ship filed a flight plan for Nexus Station. Hansu frowned. Nexus Station was a major hub. From there, they could go anywhere in the Confederation. "Any name on the ship registration?" he asked. The guard looked closer at the screen. "Just a number. But..." He paused. "That's strange." The dock fee was paid from a government account. Hansu felt his pulse quicken. This wasn't just a random kidnapping. Someone in the government was involved. "Which department?" The guard shook his head. "Above my level. Numbers are coded." Hansu left the docks and found a quiet corner. He needed to tell Sun Mai what he learned. But first, he sent a message to an old friend on Nexus Station. The hunt was on. But Hansu couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He looked up at the ceiling, searching for cameras. In the shadows near the air vents, something moved. Hansu's hand went to his gun. Maybe he wasn't the only one hunting today. Hansu's ship was small and old, but it was fast. Most importantly, it didn't look special. In space, being noticed was dangerous. Sun Mai sat in the passenger seat, looking uncomfortable. She had insisted on coming with him. You should have stayed on the station, Han Su said as he set the course for Nexus Station. It's safer. She is my daughter, Sun Mai replied simply. The ship jumped to light speed, the stars stretching into long lines outside the window. Han Su leaned back in his chair. Tell me more about who might want to take Jada, he said. You mentioned the ancestral memory. Who knows about it? Sun Mei's face was tight with worry. Only the High Council and a few top scientists. It's our most guarded secret. Then someone on the High Council is involved. The dock fee came from a government account. Sun Mei closed her eyes. I was afraid of that. There are 12 council members besides the 3 high councilors. Any of them could be behind this. Who would benefit most from having access to your family's secrets? Councillor Ren has always wanted more military power. Councillor Ta leads the science division. She would love to study the ancestral memory. And Councillor Du has never liked my family. Han Su filed these names away. We'll know more when we reach Nexus. The journey took 6 hours. They didn't talk much. Sun Mi tried to sleep but couldn't. Han Su cleaned his gun and checked his other tools. Nexus Station was huge, 10 times bigger than Stellar Station Alpha. It was the central hub for 3 major trade routes. Ships from 100 worlds came and went every day. Han Su docked at a small port on the outer ring. Stay close to me, he told Sun Mai, and keep your hood up. They passed through security without problems. Han Su had papers that looked real enough for a quick check. On Nexus, no one looked too closely as long as you paid the entry fee. Once inside, Han Su led Sun Mai through crowded halls to a small shop with a sign that read rare items in 5 languages. Inside, a human woman with gray hair was showing a customer a strange glowing rock. When she saw Han Su, her eyes widened. Finish up, Meija, Han Su said in human language. We need to talk. The woman nodded and quickly finished her sale. After the customer left, she locked the door and turned the sign to closed. Han Su, she said, giving him a quick hug. I got your message. Dangerous friends you have these days. She looked at Sun Mai with narrowed eyes. This is personal, Han Su said. Did you find anything? Meija nodded. The ship you asked about arrived yesterday. 2 passengers left it, a Moran and a young woman. They were met by 2 men in black uniforms. Security forces, Sun Mai asked. Meija shook her head. Private guards. They wore the mark of the collectors. Han Su cursed under his breath. Are you sure? Small gold pin shaped like a cage. It was them. Sun Mai looked between them. Who are the collectors? Bad people, Han Su said. They collect rare things. Artifacts. Animals. Sometimes people. They steal special beings from all over the galaxy, Meija explained. Anything rare or one of a kind. They sell to rich buyers who want unique things. Sun Mei's face went pale. They took my daughter to sell her. For her ancestral memory, Han Su said grimly. It makes her very valuable. Where would they take her? Sun Mei's voice shook. Meija went to her computer. They have a base on Venos moon. Very private. Heavy security. That's where they prepare items for auction. Auction. Sun Mei grabbed Han Su's arm. They're going to auction my daughter. Not Jaya herself. The information in her head. Han Su turned to Meija. When's the next auction? 3 days from now. Han Su nodded. We need to move fast. Meija gave him a small data chip. Security plans for Venos moon. It won't be easy, Han Su. It never is. He pocketed the chip. Thanks, Meija. As they left the shop, Sun Mi asked, can we really break into a collector base? Han Su didn't answer right away. Finally, he said, they're expecting fancy Confederation technology. They won't be looking for simple human tricks. But even as he said it, Han Su wondered if he was right. The collectors were dangerous, and if a council member was working with them, this was bigger than he had thought. Time was running out for Jia. Gano's moon hung in space like a gray pearl. From orbit, Han Su could see the collector base, a large black building surrounded by high walls. Their security system will detect any ship that gets close, Han Su said, studying the plans Mejai had given him. We need another way in. Sun Lei looked worried. What about transporter beams? They'll have blockers for those. Han Su smiled slightly. But they won't be looking for someone to just walk in. Walk in. That's your plan. Han Su pointed to a spot on the map. The collectors get supply deliveries every day. Food, water, cleaning supplies. We get on one of those ships. The supply ship was easy to find. Han Su paid the captain, another human, to look the other way while they hid among crates of food. Stay behind me, Han Su told Sun Mai as the ship landed. And remember, if anyone asks, you're my prisoner. I'm delivering you to the collectors. Sun Li nodded, though she didn't look happy about it. The cargo doors opened, and workers began unloading crates. Han Su and Sun Mai slipped out when no one was looking. They moved quickly to a service door, and Han Su used a simple tool to open it. No alarm. Sun Mai whispered. They don't put alarms on service doors. Too many false alarms from workers. Han Su checked the hall. This way. They moved through narrow maintenance hallways. Twice they had to hide as workers passed. Han Su seemed to know exactly where to go. How do you know this place so well? Sun Mi asked. All these bases are built the same way. The collectors think they're special, but they use standard designs. Han Su stopped at a corner and peeked around it. Main detention area should be ahead. The hall ended at a heavy door with a scanner beside it. Now what? Sun Mi asked. We need an access card. Han Su reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. Human trick number 1. Sometimes the simple way works best. He pressed the device against the scanner. It made a soft beeping sound, and the door slid open. What is that? Sun Mi asked. Card copier. I copied a worker's card when we were hiding earlier. But the Confederation says those don't work anymore. Our security is too advanced. Han Su grinned. Your security is designed to stop advanced attacks. No one expects something this simple. Inside was a large room with doors along both walls. Each door had a small window. Cell block, Han Su whispered. Jia will be in one of these. They moved quickly, looking through each window. Most cells were empty. A few held strange creatures or objects that glowed with unknown energy. There, Sun Mi pointed to a cell near the end. Through the window, they could see a young woman sitting on a narrow bed. Jia. Han Su used his device on the door scanner. It opened with a soft hiss. Jia looked up, her eyes widening when she saw her mother. Mom, how did you? Quiet, Han Su warned. We need to move fast. Jia stood up shakily. They've been drugging me, testing me. Sun Lei hugged her daughter tight. Can you walk? I think so. Han Su checked the hall. Clear. Let's go. They had just stepped into the hallway when alarms began to blare. Red lights flashed along the ceiling. They found us, Sun Mai said. No. Han Su pointed to a monitor on the wall. It showed the front gate, where Confederation security ships were landing. Someone else is here. On the screen, officers in official uniforms were arguing with collector guards. The council, Sun Mai realized. They've tracked us here. Which means we're trapped between the collectors and whoever on the council wants Jia. Han Su pulled out his gun. We need a new exit. Jia pointed to a small door at the end of the hall. The test lab is through there. It has a window to the outside. Han Su nodded. Good. Stay close. As they moved toward the lab, footsteps echoed from both directions. The collectors were coming from one way, and Confederation officers from the other. Hansu smiled grimly. Sometimes being caught in the middle was the perfect place for a human. The test lab was filled with strange machines. Clear tubes ran from ceiling to floor. Screens showed data that changed constantly. In the center of the room stood a large chair with straps and wires coming out of it. Jaya stopped when she saw the chair. Her face went pale. That's where they tested me. Hansu moved to the window. It was small but big enough for them to fit through. Outside was a 10-foot drop to the ground. This will work. We just need tow. The door behind them opened. A tall Moran in a white coat entered, followed by 2 guards. The Moran stopped, surprised to see them. High Counselor Sun Me, the Moran said, recovering quickly. This is unexpected. Darlin, Sun Mai said. Her voice was cold. You're working with the collectors. The Moran smiled thinly. Working with? I run this operation. Hansu kept his gun ready, watching the guards. Who are you? Dr. Darlin, Jaya said, head of the Confederation Science Council. And you must be the human helper, Darlin said to Hansu. How interesting. I didn't think Sun Mai would work with your kind. Sun Me stepped forward. Release my daughter. Now. I'm afraid I can't do that. Darlin moved to one of the screens. Jaya's ancestral memory is too valuable. Do you know what we've already learned from her? Weapon locations, security codes, the location of the lost Vela ships. You're stealing state secrets, Sun Mai said. Secrets that should belong to all of the Confederation, not just your family, Darlin replied. For too long, your family has kept this knowledge to itself, using it for power. To protect everyone, Sun Mai argued. Some knowledge is too dangerous to share. Hansu saw his chance while they talked. He moved slowly toward the window, trying to get a better angle. Who hired you? Sun Mai asked Darlin. Which council member? Darlin laughed. All of them. They're tired of your family controlling everything. That's not true, Jaya said suddenly. Everyone looked at her. I saw the records when they tested me. Only one council member is paying for this. Counselor K. Darlin's smile disappeared. You shouldn't have seen that. Why, K? Sun Mai looked confused. He's always supported my family. Because he doesn't want the knowledge, Jaya said. He wants me. Hansu watched the pieces come together on Sun Mi's face. You and Kai. Jaya nodded, looking down. We've been seeing each other for months. He asked me to marry him. When I said no, he changed. So this is about a rejected man's pride. Hansu couldn't keep the disgust from his voice. It's about power, Darlin said. If Kay married Jia, he would have access to the ancestral memory through their children. When she refused, he decided to take it by force. Footsteps sounded in the hallway. Many people were coming. That will be Kay's personal security, Darlin said. They're not here to rescue Jia. They're here to take her. Hansu made his decision. He raised his gun and shot the window. The glass shattered. Go, he shouted to Sun Mai and Jia. Now. Sun Mi helped Jaya to the window. The guards raised their weapons, but Hansu was faster. He shot the control panel on the wall. The lights went out, and alarms blared even louder. In the confusion, Sun Mai and Jaya climbed through the window. Hansu backed toward it, keeping his gun on Darlin and the guards. You won't escape, Darlin said. Kai controls half the security forces in this sector. We'll take our chances. Hansu reached the window. Outside, Sun Mai and Jaya waited. The lab door burst open. Soldiers in Confederation uniforms rushed in. Hansu jumped through the window just as they fired. He landed hard on the ground outside. This way, he said, pulling Sun Mai and Jia to their feet. We need to get to the landing pads. As they ran, Jaya said, I'm sorry, Mom. I should have told you about Kay. Later, Sun Mai said, right now, we just need to survive. Alarms screamed across the collector base. Red lights flashed everywhere. Han Su led Sun Mai and Jia through rows of storage containers, staying low. "The landing pads are on the other side of this yard," he said, "but we'll be in the open to get there." Sun Mai looked at her daughter with worry. Jia was pale and breathing hard. The drugs they had given her were still in her system. "Can you make it?" Sun Mai asked. Jia nodded. "I have to." Han Su checked his gun. "I only have a few shots left. Once we start running, don't stop for anything." They watched as guards ran past their hiding spot. When the way looked clear, Han Su gave the signal. "Now." They burst from behind the containers and ran toward the landing pads. They made it halfway across before someone shouted, "There they are." Laser fire cut through the air around them. Han Su pushed the women ahead of him, turning to fire back. One guard fell, but more were coming. Almost there, Sun Mai called. A ship sat on the nearest pad. It was small but looked fast. If they could reach it. More guards appeared in front of them, blocking their path. Han Su stopped, pulling Sun Mai and Jida behind a fuel tank for cover. "We're trapped," Sun Mai said. Han Su looked around quickly, his eyes fixed on a panel on the wall nearby. "Not yet." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small metal device. "What is that?" Jia asked. "Something simple." Han Su smiled. "Humans call it a grenade. Old technology, but effective." He pressed a button on the device and threw it at the panel. The explosion was small but powerful. The panel burst open, and steam poured out of pipes behind it. "Heat exchangers," Han Su explained as thick steam covered the area. "Every base needs them for temperature control. Now we have cover." The steam spread quickly, making it hard for the guards to see. Han Su took Sun Mai's hand, who held Jaya's, forming a chain. "Stay close. I can see better in this than they can." They moved through the steam cloud toward the ship. Guards were shouting in confusion around them. Human eyes evolved in different conditions than most Confederation species, Han Su explained as they walked. "We see better in smoke and steam." They reached the ship without being spotted. Han Su tried the door. Locked. Jia leaned against the ship, breathing hard. "I can open it." She reached for the control panel, fingers moving weakly over the buttons. "Part of my work, studying ship security." The door slid open. They rushed inside. The cockpit was standard Confederation design. Han Su sat at the controls, his hands moving quickly over the panels. "They'll have lockdowns on all ships," Sun Mai said. "Usually, yes." Han Su pulled out the card copier device again. "But this ship belongs to a collector boss. It has override codes." The engines hummed to life. "Hold on," Han Su said as he lifted off. Laser fire hit the ship as they rose, but the shields held. Han Su pushed the engines hard, and the ship shot upward into the sky. "They're following," Sun Mai said, looking at the scanner. "Two ships." Han Su set course away from the moon. "They're faster than us. We can't outrun them." "What do we do?" Jia asked. Han Su smiled. "We don't run. We hide." He turned the ship toward a dense asteroid field that circled the moon. "You're not going in there." Sun Mai looked alarmed. "The navigation systems can't handle those asteroids." "Exactly," Han Su said. "That's why we're turning them off." He shut down the navigation computers and took the controls manually. The ship shuddered as they entered the asteroid field. "Collector ships are fully automated," Han Su explained as he deftly moved between floating rocks. "They can't fly manually like this." Behind them, one of the pursuing ships hit an asteroid and spun away. The other turned back, unwilling to follow. Sun Mai watched in amazement as Han Su guided them through the field using just his eyes and hands. No computers, no fancy technology, just human skill. "How did you learn to fly like this?" she asked. Han Su's eyes never left the view screen. When you're not allowed to have the best ships, you learn to be the best pilot. They emerged from the asteroid field with no pursuit. Han Su set course for Nexus Station. Jaya looked at the human with new respect. I always thought humans were primitive. We are, Han Su said. And sometimes primitive works better. 1 week later, Han Su stood in the Great Hall of the Confederation Council. The room was huge, with high ceilings and walls of shining metal. Hundreds of beings from different worlds filled the seats. All council members sat at the front, wearing their formal robes. One seat was empty. Councillor K was gone, arrested for kidnapping and treason. Dr. Darlin was in prison too. The collector base on Venus Moon had been shut down. Sun Mai stood at the center of the hall, wearing her high councillor robes. Jaya stood beside her, fully recovered from her ordeal. Han Su felt uncomfortable in this fancy place. Many eyes watched him with suspicion or dislike. Humans were not welcome here. Not yet. We are gathered today for an important announcement, Sun Mai said, her voice echoing through the hall. As you know, my daughter was kidnapped last week by criminals working with former Councillor K. Angry whispers filled the room. The story had shocked everyone. Jaya was rescued, thanks to the help of this human. Sun Li pointed to Han Su. His name is Han Su, and without his help, my daughter would be dead or worse. More whispers, some angry, some curious. Before he agreed to help me, I made him a promise, Sun Mei continued. A promise that I intend to keep today. One of the other high councillors, a tall being with 4 arms, stood up. What promise, Sun Mei? I promise to grant full Confederation citizenship to all humans. The hall exploded with noise. Council members jumped to their feet, shouting. Some were angry, others confused. You cannot do this alone, the 4-armed councillor said. This requires a full council vote. Not according to our oldest laws, Sun Mai replied calmly. Each high councillor has the right to bring 1 new species into the Confederation each cycle. This is my choice. Humans are primitive, someone shouted. They don't belong with us. Jaya stepped forward. Primitive. Han Su rescued me when all your advanced technology failed. He found me using simple tricks and tools. He flew through an asteroid field with no computers. Is that primitive, or is it skilled in a different way? The room grew quieter. The Confederation was founded on the idea that different beings bring different strengths. Sun Mai said, humans bring something we have lost. The ability to solve problems without relying on technology. The ability to see solutions we cannot see. Han Su watched in amazement as Sun Mai defended humans. 1 week ago, she had seen him as just a tool to find her daughter. Now she was fighting for his entire species. I have signed the order, Sun Mai said, holding up a glowing document. From this day forward, all humans are citizens of the Galactic Confederation, with all rights and protections. The 4-armed councillor looked angry but nodded slowly. It is your right, though many will not like it. They will learn, Sun Mai said. She turned to Han Su. Please come forward. Han Su walked to the center of the hall. Sun Mai handed him the document. This is yours, she said, the first citizenship paper for humans. Others will follow. Han Su took the document, his hands shaking slightly. Thank you. Later, outside the council building, Jaya found Han Su looking up at the stars. What will you do now? She asked. There are many humans across the galaxy who need to hear this news, he said. I'll start spreading the word. And after that, Han Su smiled. Your mother offered me a job as her security advisor. She thinks the Confederation security forces could learn from primitive human methods. Jaya laughed. She's right. We've relied on technology for too long. We forgot the simple solutions. That's the human advantage, Han Su said. We remember the old ways because we haven't had the luxury of forgetting them. Jaya looked at him with new eyes. I used to think humans were less than us. Now I see you're just different, and different can be valuable. Hansu nodded. That's all we ever wanted. A chance to show what we can do. As the 3 moons of the Confederation capital world rose in the sky, Hansu thought about all the humans who would soon learn that they were no longer outsiders, no longer primitive. They were citizens with the same rights as any other being. All because one desperate mother had made an offer that left a human in shock. Sometimes, the simplest solutions changed everything.